Hey everyone, welcome to Amanda's Book Corner. I'm Amanda, and this is my review of Ramón and Julieta by Alana Quintana Albertson. This book just came out at the beginning of February, and it's the first in a new series called Love and Tacos, which I think is a trilogy. As you can probably guess from the title, Ramón and Julieta is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and in this case, it has Latinx characters, people are Mexican American, and it has to do with tacos and a rivalry between their families and their taco businesses. Ramón and Julieta starts off on Dia de los Muertos on November 1st, and Julieta is working at a pop-up stand of her restaurant at this event, this Dia de los Muertos event, and while she's there, in full face paint and a full outfit, she meets a man who is also dressed up fully, and he has a guitarrón, a guitar, and he serenades her, and they have a cute little thing going on. And so after she finishes working for the night, they do meet up again, and they end up going back to his place. By the way, up to this point, they haven't given each other their real names. Ramón has told her that his name is Romeo. Julieta has said that her name is Juliet. And so they're both aware that they're kind of playing out this Romeo and Juliet thing. And they actually quote Romeo and Juliet, and it's very meta. At one point early on, Ramón says, let's just retell the story or rewrite the story. And that's exactly what this book is. But anyway, Ramón and Julieta end up at Ramón's house, and Julieta is like, wow, this guy's super rich. He drives a McLaren. He lives in a huge waterfront property in La Jolla. He is obviously extremely wealthy. She's not really sure where his wealth comes from until, before they hook up or anything, she decides to go to the bathroom. She sees a picture on the wall close to the bathroom and sees that it's a cover of a magazine with Ramón's dad, Ramón, and his two brothers. That's when she figures out that his family is the one who stole her mom's taco recipe, her fish taco recipe, way back in the 1970s. His family has since become hugely wealthy. They have a restaurant called the Taco King, which is a chain restaurant, kind of like Taco Bell, I guess. And meanwhile, Julieta's mom and her family, they have never been super wealthy. They have one restaurant in her neighborhood, and they still kind of live paycheck to paycheck. And there's a whole rivalry between these two families. So now that Julieta knows who Ramón actually is, she leaves and she's like, I'm not spending any more time with this guy. He is horrible. So imagine her surprise when the next day she finds out that Ramón and his family business, they have bought the block where her restaurant is, and they plan to turn her restaurant, Las Pescas, into another Taco King. She's not happy about that at all. And she's even less happy to find out that she has to work with this guy over the next few weeks or months to get this Taco King restaurant going and figure out what her role is going to be and what her job is going to be and where her own restaurant is going to be in the future. So this book deals with a lot of really interesting themes that I don't normally see in romances, and I really love seeing it here. So on the one hand, Ramón's family, they are gentrifiers, and because they're Mexican American themselves, they're known as gentrifiers. And it's really interesting seeing how they've become so wealthy and successful, and yet they're seen as the enemy of their own people, their own community, because of the way that they are basically selling out their community and basically contributing to gentrifying their neighborhoods and their communities. So I think it's definitely horrible what Ramón's family is doing. Now, this might signal to you that Ramón is the kind of hero that is irredeemable. He's too horrible. But I will say that although he's super rich and he's now acting as the CEO of this company where his dad still has the final say over everything, he is someone that grew up in completely different circumstances from a lot of people, most people really. And I do think that he's just completely unaware of how his actions are negatively affecting Mexican Americans and other people in these communities that they're putting their Taco Kings in. And he definitely has a lot of growth to go through in this book. He is someone who really needs to understand the consequences of his actions and really figure out what he wants his company to be going forward. And he needs to decide if he is like his dad and has this endless greed to make more money and keep expanding to the detriment of their own people and their own community. Luckily, Ramón does have a lot of guilt, and he's starting to see things very early on in the book, and he definitely does want to make things right. He's not exactly sure how to do that, especially given that he doesn't have complete control over the company. His dad still has the final say, but he does want to make things right. That might be partially because he still wants to be with Julieta, but I think it's also because he's starting to understand his own culture a little bit better after spending more time with Mexican Americans of, not multimillionaire status, basically. Julieta is a character that I found more relatable. She lives paycheck to paycheck. Well, maybe not exactly paycheck to paycheck, but they're not wealthy by any means. And she runs a restaurant that her mom had originally started, and she's a very talented chef. I like how she combines authenticity of Mexican cuisine and puts her own spin on it and makes things very creative. It's kind of like a fusion, and I really like the food that's described here. I will say this book did make me hungry and it did make me want tacos. Be prepared to have tacos very soon after reading this book because you're going to want them. But anyway, I did like Julieta a lot. She's a very realistic character. She's kind of back and forth on a lot of things. Like, on the one hand, she seems very self-assured and very confident and very determined and in charge. But on the other hand, she seems very unsure and a little bit wishy-washy and very sensitive in a lot of ways. And so I think she's a very interesting character who has a lot of different nuances and layers to her. This extends to her potential relationship with Ramón. Although the two of them do have an attraction to each other, she has a little bit of a hatred for him, especially given who his family is and the way his dad had treated her mom way back in the 1970s. By the way, it's a little bit weird that her mom and his dad had a brief little relationship. Not really a fan of that, and actually, I think Ramón at one point says that he finds it supremely uncomfortable that their parents kind of dated way back when. But we'll let it slide, because their parents are not together now, and I don't think they ever will be at this point. In this book, I really think that Ramón is the one who has to go through a lot of character development, and I do think Julieta helps him in that. As I mentioned before, he's already trying to improve his understanding of his own Mexican culture and stop being a gentrifier, so that would be a good first step in him. He's also trying to change the course of his business, maybe make the Taco King franchise a little bit less horrible. But on the other hand, I think that Julieta really makes him more down to earth on her own. She also helps him reconnect with his love of music and playing guitar or guitarrón, and I really like how she kind of awakens in him a lot of sensitivities that he wasn't really aware that he was lacking. I think she gives him a large dose of reality that he was really needing for most of his life up to this point. His mom says he's in his late 30s, whereas Julieta I think is 29 or 30, so there might be a 10-year age difference there. I'm not exactly sure how many years are between them. But anyway, he is fully an adult and he has a lot of growing to do. His father might be too far gone though. This book does describe how his father way back when had fought for Mexican rights, and he fought for Chicano Park, which is in the area where they live, and how he used to really stand for immigrant rights, Latino rights, Mexican rights, but now he's become so far gone that it's almost like he can't really reach the side of him that used to be so prominent in his youth. But I think despite Ramón growing up a multimillionaire, I think he's not too far gone, and I think he can be redeemed. And throughout this book, we do get to see how he does go through that transformation, which is very much needed. I do love that music is an important side for Ramón and how he played everything from like Metallica to mariachi music. I think that's really great. As a person who loves music, I found that really nice about him, and I do like how he works on the business later on in the book. I'm not going to tell you any spoilers, but he does do some good things eventually. It takes a while, but he gets there. I also like that there is discussion of therapy, and Ramón says that he has gone through therapy, and I think he will need to go to therapy again after some events that happen later in this book. I do feel like I keep talking about Ramón, and I think that's mostly because he's the one that has most of the issues here and has the farthest to go to become a redeemable, likable character. I always did like him in this book, but there were definitely some problems with him. Julieta, on the other hand, I think was pretty much good from the beginning. I mean, yeah, she worked too hard, and she didn't get the opportunity to travel or do anything, but that's not her fault. And I do appreciate that eventually she does get some more time to relax and explore. I think that's wonderful. But again, I don't think she had quite the character flaws or family flaws that needed to be worked on. Really, she was helping Ramón become a better person, but also finally finding her own happiness, her own love in an unlucky person. Ramón and Julieta was also a very fun book. I thought it was very funny and light and silly, despite having some of these heavier, more important themes in there. It does a great job of balancing the light with the discussions of important topics like gentrification and keeping cultural identity alive. I really did find this book charming, and I ended up giving Ramón and Julieta 5 stars. I'm also really excited to keep reading the Love and Taco series. I think there are going to be 2 more books, one for each of Ramón's younger brothers, Enrique and Jaime, so I'm excited to read those. I think they'll be coming out in the next couple of years, and I will definitely be reviewing them. So I hope you enjoyed this book review video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you don't miss any more of my videos, please ring the bell to get all my notifications. I put out about 2 to 3 book review videos like this one every week, as well as 1 to 2 other videos like vlogs and listicles. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!